podcast where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode, we'll be exploring number 6 from Sports Illustrated's The Top 50 Sports Movies of All Time.
All right, and number 6 is Hoosiers, released in 1986, directed by David A. Spa, starring Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, and Dennis Hopper.
Controversial basketball coach Norman Dale arrives in rural Hickory, Indiana to coach the basketball team. He clashes with the townspeople who are passionate and opinionated about basketball. He manages to build a championship squad and resurrect his reputation.
Why don't you go ahead and start? What are your thoughts?
It's a good one. This is a really good movie.
It is a good movie. Number 6, sure.
It's a little high for me on the list.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good movie. This one...
It's very tropey.
It's extremely tropey, but this is one of those movies where every trope really works because of the performances. So you've got Gene Hackman, who gives this incredible portrayal of a very Bobby Knight-esque Indiana basketball coach. He has been successful at the college ranks, but because of an incident with a player who he punched out or something, he's been out of the game for a while, and he's got this friend who has called him back to this small Indiana town to coach the high school basketball team. And it's kind of his last chance at remaining in the game. And, he comes in and he's got very rigid ways of what he wants to do and how he wants to go about things.
And it's very different from what the townspeople are used to.
All these townspeople have very, very different ideas about what's going to happen. So he's constantly clashing with them. He's only got 7 players, so he doesn't even have a full squad of players. And the kid who is the best basketball player in the city, in this little town, isn't even playing on his team because his parents have died recently, and he's kind of grieving, and he's staying with an aunt who is much more wants him, to focus on academics and things like that rather than on basketball. She's played by Barbara Hershey, who has great chemistry with Gene Hackman. They have this constant back and forth, and you can see the attraction on both sides for them. Dennis Hopper has a really great performance in this movie where he plays the alcoholic father of one of the players, and
but knows the whole history of the high school basketball team. Yeah,
he's a former player himself, and he's very, very knowledgeable about the game, but he's
struggling.
He's just got all this self-hatred because he hasn't been able to take care of his family. He's not even living with them, and he's just completely washed out. But he ends up being given a shot by
Gene Hackman.
By Gene Hackman's character to be the assistant coach. There are a lot of really great performances in this.
The kids too. The kids that play in the movie are really good.
It really focuses on the team aspect of basketball, which Gene Hackman is about system basketball versus having a really talented player just carry the rest of the team. His whole philosophy is anyone on the team should be able to do whatever it is that needs to be done. So his thing is all about it's the real kind of epitome of why you practice. Is you practice so much that everything just becomes second nature to you. And that's kind of what his whole focus is. And he wants the really talented basketball player to play for him, but he wants that player to do it on his own terms.
Yeah, he wants him to kind of want to play.
I think that's one of the like the real highlights of what he's doing as a coach, where he talks to this kid not about basketball so much, but about other things. I think that's what kind of turns the corner with the Barbara Hershey character as well, is she kind of sees that there's something more to him than
that
basketball.
He doesn't just care that this kid plays basketball, that he cares about who he is as a person.
Yeah. He's one of those people that his passion runs so strong that he kind of can't control it at times, which is whatever happened with this kid in this, this college that he was coaching at. Something happened and he lost his head for a moment and,
punched a kid.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, But, shit happens sometimes and more. And
lots of stuff like that happened in the 80s and nobody really cared.
It wasn't in the 80s, it was in the 60s.
Oh, that's right, because wasn't it filmed in the 70s?
No,
oh, no.
The movie came out in 86, but it takes place in the 60s.
So nobody cared in the 60s.
They obviously cared because he got fired and he couldn't get a job anywhere else. It's not like he...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
He's trying to make amends.
Yes, he is.
So they don't, like, he isn't, like, let off the hook with what he did.
No, he isn't.
And there's just a lot of really, really great scenes in this movie. I think the thing that's the most interesting is it kind of shows, like, how the game is soon to change when they play the team that's essentially all black. That's just around the corner.
Yeah.
That, most teams are going to feature primarily black athletes for the most part. But at the same time, he's pushing a system. So I think he would do the same thing if he was coaching that all black team.
Yeah. I think he would take the same approach.
I think he would take the exact same approach where, he's about the system.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately what, wins them the high school championship, is what they're doing there. But it's a mix of that plus the best player doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. So
there's a recognition there of, we also need the guy with the hottest hand to take the shot.
Yeah.
It feels like it's set in that time. Like, they do a real good time of putting you in the place. And, Indiana is to basketball what Texas is to high school football. Like, that's just their thing. Like, all of these small towns, that's what they do. Like, it's just the thing.
Well, and you can tell the way they portrayed the townspeople. Like, it was everything.
Yeah.
Kind of like, what was that movie? Varsity Blues, where, like, the whole town was into high school football. Kind of the same thing. And didn't like the way he was teaching their kids to play, and they were very opinionated about it and wanted to get him out of there.
And he was trying to teach them as much about life as he was about basketball. Like, that was just as important to him. Like, he was willing to put anyone on the court that he had to. Like, he kicked a couple of the guys out because, at least for a short time, because of their attitudes.
Yeah.
Even though it was going to be detrimental to the success of the team. Ultimately, like, they were going to be a weaker team without these guys, but he was not one to put any individual above the team.
Right.
So he really walked the walk with his coaching style, which was, it's pretty admirable, actually, in a lot of ways.
It is.
Great performances across the board.
Yep.
Just a really, really fun
that whole
exploration of basketball.
The whole storyline with Dennis Hopper, I think, was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the heart of the movie in a lot of ways.
And it really, he doesn't all of a sudden be cured of alcoholism either. He slips up.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what happens. And
you can tell, like, even though he's making amends with his son, that they still have a very long way to go. It's not like, like Saturday morning special kind of.
Yeah, like, oh, all's
ending.
forgiven.
Yeah, it's like
fine.
this guy is going to continue to struggle with this part of his life, and he's going to fight it. But at the same time, the coach has given him a purpose.
Yeah.
Of helping him, help these kids do what they need to do, and to be able to, dive into his basketball knowledge. He's a really good technical coach, which is what you want in an assistant coach.
Yeah.
He's got all that. He just, he's just like,
he's just got a problem.
He's so lost, and he's got this huge drinking problem, but it's given he now has a purpose that can help him get beyond that. I gave this a 71. Jerry gave it a 69, so the list score is 70.
All right. If you've watched Hoosiers and you'd like to make a comment, please do so. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate it. If you'd like to talk to us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But for now, I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.